Hey everybody, this is Haeravon, and today I want to talk about change.org, the website where first world crybabies with too little to do go to bitch about things that don't really matter. Usually this is just a comedy site for those of us with common sense and yet still too little to do. We go here and we laugh at the people whining about things and signing petitions to get inconsequential shit changed. Grand Theft Auto 5, I've had a laugh at some of the petitions on here earlier. There was one to bring Grand Theft Auto 5 to PC. And then there were a bunch of scared console fanboys that started a petition. Don't bring Grand Theft Auto 5 to PC. And there's all kinds of stupid crap on this site. Stop selling 50 Shades of Grey. Well, the crazy thing is that a petition on this site actually worked to effect change, and not in the positive. This is regarding Grand Theft Auto 5. There was a petition for Target Australia to withdraw Grand Theft Auto 5 from their shelves. And it actually succeeded. Grand Theft Auto 5 is no longer being sold in Targets around Australia. So let's go over this petition, because I have some issues with it, and I will read it to you and then I will narrate my thoughts. First, the opening line. Target, withdraw Grand Theft Auto 5. This sickening game encourages players to commit sexual violence and kill women. Alright, well, you know that this is going to be good when I have things to say about just the opening sentence here. I must have missed, when I was playing this game, I must have missed the mini-game to rape women. I don't remember ever being encouraged to commit sexual violence at any point in this game. And killing women, it's a Grand Theft Auto game. You kill all kinds of people. I don't see why we are focused on the violence towards women in this game when easily 90% of the people that you're killing throughout your adventure here will be males. But who gives a shit? Males don't matter, right? Next paragraph. It's a game that encourages players to murder women for entertainment. The incentive is to commit sexual violence against women, then abuse or kill them to proceed or get health points. And now Target are stocking it and promoting it for your Xmas shopping. Okay, let's go over that again. Again, I don't recall the encouragement. There might be some women gangsters in the game that you kill along with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bland males you callously murder for various reasons. So they're saying the point of the game, the incentive is to commit sexual violence against women. That could not be any further from the point of the game. I don't remember a single instance throughout the entire game where you were incentivized in any way, shape, or form to commit sexual violence against women. The health point statement, I think when you peruse the services of a prostitute, you regain some health back, but I mean, unless they are saying that female sex workers, that field is, if you are a John, you are committing sexual violence, well, I have issues with that too. And you get this crap from feminists all the time, that they bitch and moan about prostitution and pretty much any expressed forms of female sexuality. Depends on the feminist, but I've heard this where they bitch and moan, and I don't see how using your body, making choices about your body, who you are going to have sex with, and under what conditions, i.e. for money, how restricting this is female empowerment. I'm sure it's some convoluted patriarchy thing that is forcing women to peddle their bodies, and it's making them a sexual object, and this is apparently all males think about all day, and what we have developed culture for is to keep women down and to sexualize them in some of their insane minds. But when you have conservative males and supposedly liberal females making the same points and coming to the conclusion that we have to deny these women the opportunity, if it is such a thing, the freedom, that's probably a better word, to control their sexual destiny and to engage in sexual intercourse on whatever terms they wish, then I think you have a problem, a serious problem, when those two sides are agreeing about something, and they should never agree about anything. But that's just my opinion. Alright, let's get on with this. This is Grand Theft Auto 5. This game means that after various sex acts, players are given options to kill women by punching her unconscious, killing with a machete, bat, or guns to get their money returned. Again, you could do this in plenty of Grand Theft Auto games. I don't know why this is coming up to the forefront now. One of Nocturnia's favorite pastimes in Grand Theft Auto 4 was to go down by the docks and run over female prostitutes because they had money on them. Yes, you can have sex with a prostitute and then knock her out or kill her to get your money back. You can also just go around on killing sprees. You can throw a Molotov cocktail at your feet. You can run a jet ski into a wall. There's a lot of stupid crap you can do in this game. Now, my issue is that they claim that you are being incentivized to do this. And the truth is, in the game, it's actually the opposite. If you kill somebody, even a prostitute, and your actions are observed, you will get a wanted level. This is not a good thing in the context of the game. The police will come after you if you commit these actions. So, to say that you are being incentivized to do this, and look, at the end of the day, it's an immense waste of time. You're getting your money back, and what are you watching? There's no nudity in these prostitution cutscenes. There's no mini-game involved. It's an open-world game where they're trying to put a little bit of, I guess, realism into it by allowing you to interact with prostitutes. Prostitutes exist. These guys are criminals. Sure, there's, if you have a moral conundrum about going to prostitutes, that's one thing, but these guys, the protagonists of the game, are criminals. They murder and steal for a living, so I don't see how this is outside the ken of everything else in the game. And again, it's been a feature in Grand Theft Auto games for I don't know how long, and including Grand Theft Auto 5. This game is not new. It's been on the shelves for a year now. It's just the remaster, and apparently this caught someone's attention. So now it's a big stink, when this was perfectly fine. No one gave a shit about this game, with all the same content being on the shelves for a year now. Okay, we'll skip a bit. One of the many fan clips on YouTube shows the women being run down, run over, set alight, still screaming, repeatedly shot. This misogynistic GTA 5 literally makes a game of bashing, killing, and horrific violence against women. It also links sexual arousal and violence. Where? Where does it link sexual arousal and violence? Source, please, for how this link occurs. Where is this? The sexual scenes in the game are usually pretty divorced from violence. At least, violence against the person you're having sex with. And this game is misogynistic because women are being run down, run over, set alight, still screaming, repeatedly shot. Well, you can do that to men, too. Is it a misandrist game? I don't see that word popping up anywhere in this article. So apparently if you can do it to male characters in the game, who gives a shit, it doesn't matter. But if you can do it to females, it's misogynist. Alright. Let's skip ahead. This game spreads the idea that certain women exist as scapegoats for male violence. It shows hatred and contempt for women in the sex industry and puts them at greater risk. Women in the industry are 40 times more likely to be murdered by a man than any other group of women. Again, this game does not do that. It does not make women scapegoats for male violence. These are just random characters throughout the game world that the player can interact with as they see fit. There's no incentive to do it. You never have to visit a prostitute in this entire game. And, you know, so women in the real world are real prostitutes are more likely to be murdered by a man. What does that have to do with prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto? See, here's the problem I have with all these feminist arguments. At the root of all of them, with Anita Sarkeesian, with stupid articles like this, with pretty much all their bellowed rants about gaming, they have yet to provide us with one study linking what happens on your screen to any real-world effects. I have yet to see it. I've seen articles that claim the reverse, that is, video games have become more technically capable, more violent, and more widely adopted. Violence has actually gone down, at least in the United States. That's what the statistics show. Now, correlation is not causation, but they don't even have correlation. And yet, we are forced to listen to this over and over again. I'll get to it right now. Another quote from them. Might be jumping the gun on my own rant, but here we go. Games like this are grooming yet another generation of boys to tolerate violence against women. It is fueling the epidemic of violence experienced by so many girls and women in Australia and globally. Again, this ties into what I was saying just a second ago. Where's the proof? Where's the proof that any movie, that any video game, that any of these forms of entertainment have any real-world effect? That even if the game did the things you say it does, which it doesn't, that they would influence men to commit acts of violence or even tolerate acts of violence against women. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. And until they come up with studies, until they come up with evidence of this, they have no leg to stand on. Target, you pride yourself on being a family company, caring for local communities, and have a strong ethical sourcing policy. How can you do this while contributing to hostile and callous attitudes towards victims of violence and more broadly to all women? But again, men don't matter. You can apparently be family friendly and politically correct while allowing men by the hundreds to be murdered, but any violence against women in the same game, in the same context, is absent. It's misogynist. It cannot be allowed. So here's a problem I have with this petition, besides the fact that it even exists and it worked. Any game where there are female characters, where violence can be perpetrated against them, this is many M-rated games, and the equivalent abroad. I'm American, so M-rated is rated 18, whatever. Any game with violence against women is now subject to this kind of scrutiny, because Grand Theft Auto 5 doesn't encourage sexual violence. They added the sexual there, right? It's not like there's a mini game where you kill as many hookers as you can in, 2 minutes and you get points, and if you get enough hooker kills, you get an extra life, right? There's no incentive like that in this game. They made it up. They made that part up entirely, the sexual violence. It is a sandbox game where there are female NPCs that can be killed. You can kill animals in this game. Where's PETA's outrage? I'm sure, PETA's probably a bad example because they're crazy enough to pull this kind of shit too. Men, again, there's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do in this game. So it's not like women are being singled out, and it's not like the violence against women in this game is in any different context than the violence against men. And it's not like you're encouraged to go out specifically to harm female characters in the game. They added the sexual violence part on here arbitrarily, because everything is sexual to these feminists. For as much as they rant about men not being able to avoid objectifying women, they seem to have a really, really hard time viewing any male-female interaction outside the realm of sexual. And in any game where you can commit or you can commit violence against women, the sexual can be inserted without cause, without any, without the game actually advocating that. And a petition like this can go up, and a retailer can take this game off their shelves under false pretenses. Now, when this happens, when you have retailers that are refusing to sell games, that obviously has to cut into the bottom line to some degree for the developers. So if this gets more widespread, and I know it's Australia. Australia is notoriously ban happy. For some reason, they refuse to view their adult members of society as adults and allow them to make their own informed choices as consumers. Or they just assume that everyone who buys these games are children, despite the rating on the frickin' box that they mandate anyways. But if this affects sales, games like this will be less likely to come out. And it's a form of censorship under false pretenses. And it has been, at least in Australia, somewhat successful on this petition. And this has me concerned for the gaming industry. If they can make shit up about a game and get that game pulled off of store shelves because they insert the word sexist and misrepresent the game. And Target, I'm not even going to complain about Target, because I don't view corporations as conscious entities like it's mandated they are in the United States. They are for the bottom line, and I assume at some point someone at Target went, if we cater to this kind of stupidity, this feminist nonsense, we will be viewed as family first, and they might come here and shop. And so this is a good PR move for us. I don't believe they really give a shit, except, for money. And that's fine, they're corporations. So I'm not going to call them spineless, I'm not going to call them cowards, I'm not going to say they rolled over. They made a business decision, and they think they will benefit from this. But if enough people follow suit, this might actually start to affect the type of game that everyone else around the world, other adults, have the ability to buy. Because if it's less profitable, you're going to see less of it made. You'll have games where, and maybe someone comes up with a solution, I don't know, to remove women entirely from games, because they are, despite, feminists will claim that this is about equality, but despite that claim, it does seem like women and men are not allowed to be treated equally in these games. And if they are, it's misogyny when you commit violence against women. But, if you mow down male characters by the hundreds, that's not misandry. So it's obviously not equal. If you remove females from games, maybe this kind of crap goes away, right? Because obviously they're special little princesses, they're special flowers, and you can't depict them in the same situations as men because equality, if that somehow makes sense to them. Because women are victimized in the same situations where men are not. But, I guess then the complaint is, well, we're not being represented in video games. Well, when you were being represented in the same way that men are, you bitched about it. The people I feel sorry for here, actually, aren't the feminists, of course. Aren't the genuine misogynists in gaming who are going to rant and rave and complain and say women are fucking stupid. Look at the dumb shit they've done now. They're ruining my hobby. I fucking can't stand these feminazis. And you're going to hear that from people. Those aren't the people that concern me. It's actually gamers who are neutral and just want to be allowed to enjoy their games, make informed choices as consumers over what they want to play, what they want to bring into their house, what is acceptable for them. And, in particular, female gamers who don't buy into this phony victimization feminist bullshit. Because they're gonna get attacked by both sides. Their hobby, their ability to enjoy their hobby is being reduced by these feminists, because now games can't be sold to them They are, again, being told that you are not capable of making the correct choice as a consumer, as a person. We have to dictate morality down to you. And if there's anything I suspect women have had enough of in their fucking lives, it's that. It's that kind of being treated like a child. The idea that feminists speak for all women is absolute nonsense. And you're going to have genuine misogynists, genuine dipshit gamers who don't understand this, complaining about women ruining their hobby. And the female gamer, they're going to be alienated from within their own hobby, and they're going to be alienated as females, and it's just, it's sad. If you're an intelligent female gamer who just wants to play their fucking video games and who doesn't want all the politics and drama and bullshit that's coming into it with this. And it's unfortunate because if you want to play a game with women, if you want to have a realistic female protagonist, if you want any of these things in video games, your ability to have these, to enjoy these, as a male gamer or a female, but in particular as female gamers, is being eroded away because of this politically correct bullshit. So, I view this as one giant step back for gaming, especially in Australia, and a worrisome trend across the world. As gamers, we need to be worried about this shit.